Someone, and we don't know who that someone is, once said, "You can't teach an old dog new tricks." Well, I think that's pretty rude actually, because I'm still learning even in my 60s. I'm not doing it to impress anybody. I'm not doing it to get a qualification. I'm just doing it because I'm curious. And curiosity, it turns out, is really quite powerful, especially after 60. When you're younger, learning is always noisy. All through school, you get end of year exams or tests. I don't think they were really exams until you got to about 16, were they? But there were tests. And then there were the O levels and the A levels. And after that, it turned into workplace qualifications. In order to progress my career at the time, I did evening classes to get a qualification in accounting. It wasn't just about proving myself to my employers, it was also about proving I could do it to myself with children and husband. After 60, the learning goes quiet. There are no big promotions to go after. There are no gold stars with your manager. And there are definitely no deadlines for tests and exams. I find the learning that I do myself is just because I can. And here's something that I noticed recently, actually thought about it recently. When I'm learning anything new, anything at all, I am assuming that I'm going to be around to use it. And that's subtle. That's actually quite powerful. Curiosity is a little message to yourself saying, I'm not quite finished yet. And there's more powerful reasons for learning, to keep your brain active. They say curiosity is good for the brain. It keeps the old brain waves ticking over and it helps with memory. But honestly, I don't learn because of all the scientific facts about your brain. When I think about it, I am always learning new things in my day to day life. So, with me picking up cooking as a hobby, I've had to learn how to use my new food mixer. I have had to learn how to use my soup maker. And I know they're not big things, but I'm still learning. I have to work out how these appliances work, and then I have to store it in my little brain to be able to remember for the next time. And you don't even think about it, you don't even think that you're learning anything new. With all my plants, I have had to learn how they need to be looked after. And I know it sounds like it's going to be you just have to water them, but it's not quite like that with some of these plants. Some of these more tropical plants that I have in here and in the kitchen, I've had to learn what feed they like and don't like, how much water they will need to have. I've had to learn how much light they actually need and whether any of them need to be on a heat mat. And when it comes to my business, I have to keep up with all the latest, not trends, because trends isn't the right way, all the new tech that's needed for a modern bookkeeping business practice. If you use the tech that's available to you, the AI, then it can simplify your processes and save you a lot of time. And yes, I guess sometimes I did think of that as learning, as educating myself, but I need to do it rather than I want to do it with that one. Or rather, I suppose I did want to do it, but I knew it would help me a lot if I did learn how to use these things. I also have to learn every time HMRC changes the rules or makes a new rule, then I have to learn how that's going to impact my clients and my bookkeeping processes. So I actually find that quite fun. I know that's going to make me sound like I'm a bit of a geek, but I guess I am when it comes to learning stuff. But I like to stay abreast of what's new in the sector. And then there's the joy of useless learning. Some of the best things that I've learned lately are completely useless to me in my day-to-day life and in my business, but they're fun. I enjoy learning about this stuff. I'm not going to make any money from it. It's not going to increase my productivity. It's just interesting, and that's allowed in my book. I mean, at our age, we don't really need a reason to do anything, do we? And at our age, interest alone is enough. The things I like to learn about that are pretty useless in my day-to-day life, but if I had the $1 million question, I might be able to answer it if I learn some of these useless facts. I mean, I love learning history, expanding on my knowledge of um, different parts of the UK history, of of the British Isles history, not just the geography of our country, which is totally amazing and unique, but also about our history. I've just been reading a book about Catherine Swynford from the Plantagenet um, section of our monarchy. And I know that no one can know exactly what her life was like, but it's interesting to read those that have researched it into their day to day living. To me, that's quite interesting to learn how they think that they would have lived, what they would have eaten, how they would have dressed, how they would have travelled, um, how they gave birth, midwifery, I can't even say it, all that stuff. I find it fascinating and it's totally useless, but so damn interesting. And of course, living alone, being solo, I have to learn all the new things that I would normally have turned to a partner to do. For example, in the kitchen, I have a window that when I moved in didn't have any curtains or blinds or anything up on it. And I'm one of those people that likes to be, when it gets dark, I like to be completely enclosed and cocooned. So I asked if I could put up a blind, and they said yes. The landlord agents said yes. It was literally, the window is tiny. It's probably about this big. So this blind wasn't big and heavy. And I measured it all out, and I literally just used a manual screwdriver and screwed the fitments, whatever you call them, and fitted it myself. And yeah, okay, it's not 100% perfect, and I'm sure that other people, not just men, could have done a better job. But it's there and it's staying up and it works. And I feel so much better when it gets dark and um, I'm cocooned in my little bubble. So when I do come across something that is new that I don't understand, I treat it as if it's a puzzle that needs to be understood and needs to be completed. I just say to myself, well, I don't know this yet, but I'm going to find out. There are so many ways that you can find out how to do things these days. I never ever say to myself, I can't do that, because I just refuse to be that person. I learn so much from YouTube. I mean, you can watch videos on how to do practically anything that you can think of, and they are really good most of the time. Some of them are a little bit suspect, but most of the time there's a video where you can watch and learn. Or if it's more of a theoretical or maybe slightly more technical, I've learned how to use Chat GPT more effectively for me. And I use that for YouTube and for my everyday life and even my business. That once you get into Chat GPT, and like for example, I use projects, I have a YouTube project set up, and I've actually given Chat GPT more information about what I want back from Chat GPT, rather than just generically asking it a question and expecting it to read my mind and know exactly what it is that I want. I've given it more information, and I've found that so brilliantly useful. It's untrue, but unless you read about how to use ChatGPT properly, you're never going to know. It's just one of the you don't know what you don't know kind of situations. When we're anxious, life shrinks. We worry and we spiral. I find that I rehearse conversations in my mind that are never ever going to happen. But curiosity does the opposite. It opens things up, it opens your life up, it opens your imagination up. Even learning one small new thing can give your brain a reset from worrying. And to me, that's brilliant. I don't like worrying. And if I feel myself getting anxious, then I need something to occupy my mind. And what's better than learning something new? Learning over 60s, the penny really dropped, because you get to choose what, when, and why. And no one's marking your homework. No one's judging you. No one's watching you. No one's testing you. And you know what? That's absolutely glorious in my book. I don't need a plan or a goal. I just follow tiny sparks when my brain is going, that's interesting. And that's enough for me. That's how curiosity works. I love it when I am following something that captured my interest and I follow it through and I go down all these rabbit holes and I'm learning everything. And I start at A and I may end up at P rather than at B, but I don't care. That's interesting to me. It's not wasted time, not in my book. I've got nobody here that is waiting for me to do anything. And so, what's the harm in going down a rabbit hole on YouTube or social media or Chat GPT or even, Google? It doesn't matter. It's my time. And if I want to go down a rabbit hole of learning about, I don't know, whatever it will be, then I'm going to do it. When you think how lucky we are that we've all got tech at our fingertips, our mobile phones are, well, they're a window into the world, aren't they? They're a window into a library, they're a window into an encyclopedia. Everything that we could ever possibly want to know, we can find from our mobile phones. It's not like our parents who, if they had to learn to do something, they had to buy a book or a manual or even go down to the library and borrow a book. There was none of this instant learning at their fingertips. I'd love to know what one small thing you've learnt recently purely for the fun of it. No productivity allowed, no doing it because you have to, but what's something that you learn just literally for the fun of it? I think we should celebrate our curiosity and never ever let anybody tell us that we shouldn't do it, that we're not allowed to do it, or that we're too old to learn. We're not. We never will be. Ever. Or at least I won't. And it turns out us old dogs learn fine, thanks. So what do you think about this subject? To me, it's always going to be curiosity above necessity. I love learning, always have done. I loved school. I'm sorry, I was one of those kids that did. I loved school. What are your thoughts on it? Do you still love learning or do you absolutely hate it? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching. I hope it's been an interesting subject to you. Have a wonderful week, stay dry, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye.